Joining me now is national women's soccer expert Jenny Berman. Now, Jenny, today we're going to talk about this season in the NWSL.
Yeah.
I got all 4 letters. Excellent. So first, give us a recap of opening weekend.
Well, this was opening weekend. It started off with a bang. 3 minutes into the first game, Joanna Lohman of the Washington Spirit scored a bicycle kick goal. That was the goal that stood for the rest of the game. That
Highlight
was the
reel.
Yeah, highlight reel
right
goal.
off the bat. Yeah.
Very exciting for the start of the season. But we had some really shocking upsets to start it off too. Sky Blue beat Seattle in Seattle, and Seattle's one of the top teams in the league. They also had the defending champions lose to one of the bottom teams in the league, and that was a pretty embarrassing game for them too. They missed a penalty kick and gave up a penalty kick. And you had a lot of games like that where you just saw these upsets. The Houston Dash also came in, beat up Chicago, and they were one of the top teams in the league last year.
Yeah.
So you had these upsets that really nobody was expecting to happen. That started off kind of a crazy bang-up weekend for everybody.
Yeah, you know, it's a new season. Anything
Yeah.
can happen. Speaking of, give us some storylines to look for this season.
So the main storyline is really, can FC Kansas City get the three-peat? They're back-to-back NWSL champions, and that's no small feat. However, they're missing now 2 of their key players, the 2 real cogs to their offense, Amy Rodriguez and Lauren Holiday. Amy Rodriguez is out because she's pregnant, and Lauren Holiday retired after the NWSL championship last year. So without these 2, who really scored all their goals, they scored all but one of their goals in the playoffs last year. So now you're just missing offense for a team that still has the best back line in the league, best defense with 3-time NWSL Player of the Year, Becky Sauerbrunn. But without the offense, there's just no chance that they're going to be able to win it again this year. Which kind of brings us to Seattle, who has been the loser every year that they've had to play FC Kansas City.
Yeah.
They're 2-time NWSL Shield winners. That means they've won the regular season twice in a row. However, every time they get to the finals, they always lose to FC Kansas City.
Yeah, you know what? You got to get it done playoff time.
Right,
Absolutely.
so they can't seem to get it done, but without this team that's kind of just been the pain for them every single year, now they've got the chance. It's wide open. They're the most talented team in the league, really. They have 2 of the best players in Kim Little and Jess Fishlock. They have Hope Solo in goal. They're looking to be a great team.
Excellent.
Then you have the big storyline that I think most people, if they know anything about the NWSL, would know, that Alex Morgan was traded from Portland to Orlando to start off this expansion franchise in Orlando. So she's their star player, but Orlando had to give up a king's ransom to get her, really. They had to give up 3 national team level players and an international spot, which let them sign a player from France.
Do you think it was worth it?
I think it was, because you look at it and you say, well, Alex Morgan's one of the best players in the world, so you get one of the best forwards in the world for your team. She's a known name, and they're going to probably break the attendance record for the league in just their first game. So overall, you're looking, it's not just about what's on the field, but it's also about what you bring off the field, and Alex Morgan brings it all off the field as well as on the field.
Absolutely.
So even though it's stacked up Portland, you still have Orlando looking pretty good too.
Because she is such a dynamic player
Exactly.
in all facets of the game. And, you know, she's looking to be a franchise player for that new expansion
Exactly,
franchise.
she's their captain, so she's going to make a name for herself on that team, really. She already obviously has made a name for herself. She's going to be Orlando's star.
Excellent. So finally for this block, give us some predictions for the rest of the way.
So you're kind of looking at 3 real championship contenders, and that's Seattle, Portland, and Chicago. Seattle I talked a little bit about before, that they've always kind of just been the team that lost it in the final, but this year it's probably their year. It really does look like it. Portland, as I said, they got stacked from that trade. They already had good players in Tobin Heath and Allie Long. They traded with another team to bring in forward Nadia Nadim, who scored a lot of goals in the NWSL, so that's going to help them out a lot too. So they're looking to try and compete for the championship as well. And then you have Chicago, who lost to Kansas in the semifinals. And again, without Kansas, that could be a strong team. They have Kristen Press, who's a strong national team forward, Julie Johnston, and second-string national team goalkeeper Alyssa Nair. They're looking like a strong team, too.
So you talked about the top teams. Now let's talk about the bottom dwellers, teams
Right.
who are not going to do so
The
well
bottom
this year.
dwellers, probably, you have to look at Sky Blue, Western New York Flash, and the Boston Breakers. Sky Blue did surprise everybody by beating the Seattle Reign in opening weekend, but ultimately, they just don't really have the talent. They have players like Kelly O'Hara, who's a big World Cup name, but overall, that's kind of it for their talent. They have rookie goalkeepers. You just can't rely on that. With the Western New York Flash, same thing. They have a couple of interesting players, but overall, just not enough offensive talent to get the job done. And with Boston, they've just been perennially bad, and it just doesn't look like it's going to change. They traded Alyssa Nair, the second-string U.S. goalkeeper, to Chicago for defender Whitney Engen, but you kind of have, that's like a like-for-like trade. You get better on defense, but you don't get better in goal. And overall, that just doesn't really solve any of their problems. So those are looking like the bottom dweller teams.
Well, fantastic. A lot of great stuff there, Jenny. And you can catch all the games on YouTube, right?
Yeah,
for
they're
free?
all on YouTube for free. There's a couple of games that they have on TV, but mostly on YouTube.
Oh, that's incredible.
Yeah.
Great stuff. That's all for this block, but after the break, we'll conclude this webcast with some NBA playoff talk.